Do marketers need to consider do marketers need to consider plagiarism when using the AI writing tools? And do writing detection tools work?
Yep. Very similar vein, these two questions. Plagiarism, not really an issue. I mean, realistically, if you generate something using an AI writing tool, it's not plagiarizing it. It's not copying and scraping content from somewhere. It's predicting words in a sentence. A large language model, it's basically what it does. It learns from a corpus of knowledge. Like imagine it ingesting Wikipedia and Reddit and CNN and your corporate website and all of these different things. It consumes all this information and it learns how humans write and the frequency with which words appear near each other. So I don't know if that's overly complicated. I'm trying to simplify this, but it's basically learning, and then it just predicts words when you ask it a question or give it a prompt. So it's not plagiarizing anything. It's truly original content in that sense. It's
So
synthesizing information the same way you or I would.
this morning you described that as
Mhm.
I think that was a really good that made us understand more about what this means. Like if someone asks you to talk about a topic,
Right.
you'll read about the topic. Do you want to talk about that for a second?
Yeah. So like the example I've often used is if I say to Kathy, can you go write me an article about the 10 ways large language models are going to affect marketing and enterprises moving forward? Kathy's going to go and do research the way a human learned to do things. You go and Google the topic, you find a bunch of sources, you copy and paste stuff over, you read through it, you highlight, you boldface, like you do all this stuff to like learn, then you synthesize that information and you write a brief that says the 10 ways large language models are going to transform marketing and enterprises. Now, sometimes within that, you may quote something, but generally speaking, you're going to take information, synthesize what you learned, and you're going to write about it. And so if Kathy walked in my office and said, okay, and I said, you got 3 minutes, like, give me the synopsis, she's just going to explain what she learned. She's not going to cite everything she says because it's just synthesized knowledge. That's how these things work. They go out, they learn a bunch of stuff way faster and at a much larger scale than the human mind is capable of. And then you ask it something and it synthesizes what it learns. It's not citing anything. It's not taking anything from any specific spot unless it's an actual quote or a statistic or something like that. It's synthesizing knowledge. And that's part of the thing, like people just don't really realize that that's what it's doing. And that's the argument, honestly, for when all of this comes to legal cases about whether or not it's infringing copyrights and things like that. This is the argument that attorneys will make. How is this any different from a human synthesizing information? So there will be counterpoints, but this is basically the premise of, it's just learning at a different scale than we're capable of as humans, but it's doing what we do basically.
And if something is wrong, or it's because it's not guessing, but it's predicting the right answer based on the information that it has, which
Correct.
humans.
It doesn't actually, unlike us, it doesn't know people, places, things. It doesn't really, it's not very good at assessing its own output to say, is this factual? Because it doesn't really even know what facts are. It doesn't know anything. It's just making it. So that's the craziest thing is like you use GPT-4 and it seems so intelligent, so creative, so advanced in its reasoning capability. But when you step back, you realize like it actually doesn't know anything. It doesn't truly understand and have the context the way a human would. It's just really good at synthesizing what a human or simulating what a human does to the point where it's extremely convincing to where you think it talks like a human.
It does. When I was doing Macon, I was writing some Macon promotional copy, and it said Macon Marketing AI Conference held in San Francisco.
Yep.
But if you look at where tech conferences are held and where marketing conferences are held, I mean, that's a pretty good assumption that's where it's going to be.
Right.
So,
It thinks any AI conference is in San Francisco.
yeah. Okay.
And then the
So,
writing detection tool you mentioned.
yes.
So quick there, they don't work. Just point blank. If you're your teachers at your kid's school are using AI detection tools, or if your company is using them in some way, they do not work. There is no path for them to work. Google, OpenAI, everyone has talked about this publicly. No one knows how to solve this. There's some theories that you're going to be able to watermark the content it outputs. There is no scientific proof or clear path right now to have AI detection tools work at scale because someone will just build an AI tool that remixes the output so the detection tool can't find it. We are entering a phase of AI versus AI. And at the end of the day, they don't work. It's just the simplest way to think about it.